What is your Tinder horror story? r/AskReddit by Best of Reddit. A little backstory. A few years ago I was dating this girl and her father really hated me, which was a bit odd as most parents love me, or at least lie about it real well. He was just a huge prick and I always called him on his shit. Anyways, her parents got divorced. We broke up a few months later etc etc. Fast forward to around a year later. Me and girl from Tinder were dating for a few months and things were starting to get serious. We're at the point where she wants me to meet her family. Mother, stepfather, little sister. Why not? I have no problems meeting them. Let's do it, I said. She told me how excited her stepdad was to meet me, as it turns out we both happen to be Kansas City Chiefs fans. Well, fuck me if it wasn't the same arsehole father of my ex-girlfriend. Tinder date with a famous chef where I was taken to a dive bar, where he promptly started talking about how famous he was. We drank and watched sports. He proceeded to tell me you're cute and this eventually went to I am going to make you bleed. He then invited one of his friends to come along. I went outside and he came up to kiss me. I was drunk, so I kissed back. Eventually he proceeded to tell me how he was being charged with battering his ex-girlfriend, but he totally didn't do it. Eventually when it came time to pay the bill, he lost his wallet. Of course, I get stuck with it. I'll pay you back. Needless to say I never got a payment. Then he leaned up against me. I thought he was trying to kiss me again, but I looked down, and he was peeing on me, in the street, peeing on me. I swiftly, being too inebriated to drive, went and got myself a hotel room and a hot shower. Never again. Started speaking to this guy on Tinder a few months ago. He seemed alright, but not my normal type. Regardless, we started speaking for a couple of days. I didn't realize how stupid I was until now, but I mentioned where I worked. The night I mentioned my workplace, I saw a guy walk past that looked a lot like him. I hadn't met him in person so I wasn't 100%. I forgot about it and a couple of days later, it was quiet in work but my phone battery was low. I said I'd speak to him later before my phone died. Him coming in 10 minutes later with a fucking iPhone charger. Yes, this might have been a nice gesture if you know, I'd actually met him face to face before. This was really weird because he said he lived the other side of the city from where I work. I wanted to cut ties straight away, but I thought I'd return the charger after I finished work. He said he would be in a bar around the corner, so when I finished I met up with him, gave him his charger and made some excuse to go home. To my horror, I saw on his Instagram that he'd taken a smiling selfie earlier in the day with the caption "I'm now a taken man." I'd seen him like not even twice. To make it even scarier, for a good few weeks, every time I'd finish work I would see him casually walking past on his own, exactly at the time I finished. Really creeped me out for a while. This couldn't have been asked at a better time. Met a guy on Tinder after ending a 6-year relationship. He was in his last year of PT school and seemed to have his shit together and was really cool. I made it extremely clear that I was in no hurry to rush into a relationship and that I wanted to take my time get to know him better. We ended up dating some months later. Everything was great. I was actually really happy with him and was going to take him home for Christmas. We had been together about 6 months at this point. Last Monday, I got a Facebook message from a random girl. She basically said she matched with my BF on Tinder and found his Facebook account. She noticed that his Facebook noted that he was in a relationship with me, so she messaged me to see if we were in a relationship since they had plans for a date that week. She sent me screenshots of all of their conversations. Bless this little Tinder angel's heart for messaging me. Confront BF. Go through phone, not like me. Find extremely graphic sexual texts between him and at least 2 other girls besides Tinder girl. BF says he was so insecure and worried that I didn't want to be with him that he wanted this false security. Broke up with him. Got drinks with Tinder girl. We're friends now. Edit. Didn't think people would see this so I wrote something quickly. I should add that he was all about me opening up about myself. He also lived in his parents' basement, told every girl on Tinder he was a doctor and opened up by asking what hurts and if they wanted a massage. I think the best part was that he was talking to one girl about music and she said she liked Motion City soundtrack. He was like, oh, I just saw them a few weeks ago, I bought us tickets and took him. face with wide open eyes and flushed cheeks. He was missing some minor details. I met a guy on Tinder. Seemed nice, fairly attractive. Seemed a little vanilla actually. He didn't drink or smoke, wanted to be a meteorologist, was super close with his grandfather, gentlemanly and family oriented. Went to Starbucks and talked for a couple hours. It was nice. So, I set up another date. We went for ice cream and again talked for a while. We were sitting outside and I mentioned something about how guys have obvious body parts to be attracted to on women while girls pick out odd things like calves and such. He gets real weird and says I don't know if I should tell you this, so of course I prod him until he tells me. So, first he says he's got a foot fetish. That's not super strange and I'm mostly curious, so I ask him tons of questions about it. He'd never been in a serious relationship, so I ask him if he could handle being with a girl who wasn't into it, at least long enough to feel love towards him, and he said no. I've called a girl from Backpages a couple times cause I couldn't take it anymore. Still not that weird. Then he asks if I have ever heard of a crush fetish. He tells me not to Google it because it'll freak me out. Still haven't. Never will. There are 2 levels of a crush fetish. LVL1. Becoming aroused watching someone crush invertebrate animals under their feet, like bugs, which was his fetish. And LVL2. Watching someone crush vertebrate animals like bunnies or kittens. This got me thinking about our previous date. We had a conversation on the first date about how I had been getting a lot more bugs in my room that summer, and so I'd been like squishing bugs all fucking day. And he said that really got him going. I also realized he had asked me what kind of shoes I typically wear and I had just brushed it off and answered him. I was wearing moccasins and, being a pretty open person, told him how they make my feet smelly, so I try to avoid them. He told me that I got really turned on when you said that. I'd love to smell your shoes if you'd let me, among other very forward, very specific and unwelcome statements about what turned him on about me. Best part, I told him a week or so later I'd met someone and that we should end our communications. He texted me a few months later 4 or 5 times asking me for my help and that he'd pay me to let him do stuff with my feet. Edit. Corrected misspelling of invertebrate and vertebrate. General clarifications. For those who simply need to know about the fucking bugs. My house is located in the woods. It was summertime. My room is located in the basement. It wasn't an infestation. Just some spiders and the occasional 1,000-legger which like to hang out in my bathroom and eat the aforementioned spiders. They had to be squished. About 8 months ago. Tinder date. She suggests brunch at Max's Wine Dive on McKinney. We are in Dallas. I pick her up at the Arpeggio Apartments in Victory Park. She's not ready, so she buzzes me in. Her apartment is beautiful. Lots of high dollar stuff. No roommate. We go to Max's at 1 PM. She drinks an entire bottle of champagne by herself. We leave, and in the car she says she wants to stop by a shop in West Village. I park in the parking garage and get out. I look for her and don't see her. I hear a noise, so I look around my car and she's squatting next to the wall peeing on the ground. We go into the shop. She takes a few dresses into the changing room and tells me to come over. I stand outside the changing room and she pulls me inside. She completely undresses, gets in the clothes, asks me what I think, undresses, gets in more clothes, etc. She takes about $1,500 worth of clothes to the counter and tells the cashier she really has to pee. Cashier says sorry. My date begs, so cashier relents and takes her into the bag, but it's too late. The damage is done. She also buys a new pair of pants. On the way back to her apartment, she answers a call and starts talking in a foreign language that I can't place. Couldn't even guess the continent. She's very nervous and upset. She hangs up and tells me she has to go to her other apartment at the Cirque, also in Victory Park. She asks me to go in with her. We go into her apartment, which is also completely beautiful and belongs only to her. She has a badass telescope that I start playing with. In the mirror, I see her open a safe and put something in her purse. She tells me we need to leave and asks me to take her to my house. We go to my house and she instantly passes out. Stays passed out for about 6 hours. Wakes up, wants Dairy Queen. It's closed and she starts crying. I take her to Sonic. She gets a cheeseburger, a chili dog, cheese fries, and a sundae. We come home. She eats it and throws up. passes out on my couch. I read and go to sleep. Next morning she asks if she can stay and watch football. I tell her I have plans and need to take her home. She says she can't go to either of her apartments. I tell her too bad, I have plans, and drop her off at Cirque. She texted asking when we could see each other again, but I never responded. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment.